In today's episode of the Platform Presents podcast, I have an interesting guest here with me today. I'm with Dan Cohen, and he's heading over as the marketing lead at Upscribe. And at Upscribe, they're basically all about subscriptions. They give you your subscriptions the charge that they need. This is what the website says. So they basically help you with an out-of-the-box tool set to manage the subscription assets needed. So today we want to really deep dive into what Upscribe is actually all about, so that we really go into the ins and outs after my sort of high-level overview, but also talk with Dan about growth. As he's heading up marketing, let's see how he thinks about the channels and the website. So Dan, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Of course, yeah. So maybe give us a quick overview. What is Upscribe all about in your own words?
Sure, yeah. So we give you like the out-of-the-box tools that you need to build, grow, or scale your Shopify subscription and retention business. So we make it really easy to build and deploy a beautiful customer experience in minutes that we like to say treats your subscribers like royalty and drives brand loyalty. So we really built the product with a really deep understanding of not only our merchants, but common subscriber pain points. So we really think about everything that we can do to help the merchant grow their relationships and evidently their business. So due to our understanding of the space, we're made up of a team of e-commerce veterans and veterans from the CPG space. We really watch closely what's going on in the space, continue to evolve our product. So we really noticed that more consumers might be hesitant to enter into subscriptions, given everything that's going on in the macroeconomic climate, but they're still loyal customers. So with that, we actually just recently introduced a new reorder product that makes it frictionless for loyal customers to repeat purchase who don't want to be locked into a subscription. So up until this point, we've really been only focused on subscriptions, but we're evolving the product to include retention as well, because we think that reorder business is really big, especially within that CPG and health and beauty space where there's regular replan items these brands are selling.
Very cool. Yeah, you mentioned very specifically the Shopify sort of ecosystem, and what is it limited to Shopify? Other e-commerce players use it as well. Like maybe tell us a bit about that.
Yeah, so right now we're just on Shopify. I think we have plans to expand, but we're really focusing on developing a tight integration with Shopify and really a reputation with Shopify and doing that really, really well first before we expand to other platforms. But yeah, right now we're on Shopify. We have a number of large Shopify Plus brands using us, like Athletic Greens, which has been great. But we really want to focus on that Shopify ecosystem, build that out, and do it well before we start thinking about the other platforms.
Yep, that makes a whole lot of sense. Now, what types of businesses do you think benefit most? I mean, obviously there needs to be subscription, there needs to be e-commerce, but is there any other parameters beyond that? Any sort of verticals you find, or any size of or website traffic they should have? Maybe give us a quick insight who fits really well into the Upscribe world.
Yeah, no, for sure. It's a great question. I think that I think when people think e-commerce, they think any business could benefit from us. Well, that is true. We really kind of cater towards businesses that have an item that is regularly replenishable or needs to be ordered again. So think food, or beverages, snacks, that sort of thing. Like if you keep ordering the same items over and over again, subscriptions, coffee, for example, would really play well into that. Same thing with like a health and beauty. Like if you use makeup or a certain shampoo or sunscreen, they order the same thing on replen. That really caters really well to us. And we really, the great thing about adding subscriptions or reorder is we make it really easy for the customer to not think about going to have to go buy it again. It shows up at the doorstep every 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, that sort of thing, and that's what really kind of helps us move the needle.
Yep, no, that makes a whole lot of sense. Now, how do these guys learn about you? Like, are you exploring sort of the Shopify marketplace? Is there like a website-driven journey that they go through? Is it referral-based? Like, how do people hear about Upscribe?
Yeah, so I mean, that's a good question, and one that we're actually, quite frankly, building as we go. So I joined Upscribe at the beginning of May and really have been focused on building the foundation for us. So up until this point in time, we've really kind of focused on referrals through our network to get people into into a demo, and then evidently closing them to be coming customers. But really right now, as of like about a month ago, we've really overhauled our whole customer acquisition engine. The foundation of this was we launched our new website, which actually launched last week. With the introduction of our website, we've really revamped our messaging and creative look and positioning to really be more professional and edgy a little bit. And we're trying to be crystal clear with our positioning on our site, and then taking that positioning and displaying it through ads, through strategic partnerships, and through outbound messaging. And in really only a short period of time, we've started to see an increase in lead activity with our new messaging going live. And, we just started SEO about 2 months ago. And so it's going to take, a couple months to see the results of that. And we've started to see significant traction with our paid efforts and some strategic sponsorships that we've just launched as well. So it's been an exciting couple of weeks for us. But before that, it was like 6 to 8 weeks of foundation building, and we're excited to see where this continues to go.
Very cool. Yeah, you mentioned you were upgrading the page there. Sort of where do you currently sort of see the strength of the website versus where do you see room for further improvement and development?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think like the strength right now is like from where we were going, like it was like we had positioning, but it wasn't speaking directly to merchants, and our creative wasn't that powerful. And I think, not only consumers, but business owners are accustomed to seeing a certain level of creative look and feel. And we didn't have that before. And so I'm really excited with the creative look and feel that we have now, because when someone comes to Upscribe for the first time, now they will see a really cleanly presented brand. And we've actually seen a significant improvement in bounce rate, which has decreased, the time on site, which has increased, and the number of pages visiting the average visitor has since we launched our website last week. So early indications are that we are, having success with that. In terms of where we need to improve, being a seed stage company, we don't have access to a ton of resources. So there's a couple things that are driving me a little bit crazy with the site. Like we want to get like a compare page live where we can really compare Upscribe to some of our competitors, because that's something that's top of mind with a lot of people who are evaluating us. So there's a lot of like comparison type things that I think we have room to improve on, and we will be improving on in the next couple of weeks. We just, it's just kind of like a phase rollout.
Yeah, no, makes a lot of sense, and congrats on the launch. I think specifically the animations, they make really clear what you guys are all about. So that's super cool. Nice. So maybe just in general, like over the years, right? As you were saying, that comparison pages, for example, are important. Over the years, what have you picked up as a marketer? Doesn't it necessarily need to be with with Upscribe only, but you've been with great brands prior. When it comes to converting people on the pages, is there any tools, methods, approaches, anything that you've picked up over the years that you think is important when it comes to driving conversions on the page?
Yeah, for sure. This was a big part of my work when I was at Klaviyo, when I led the self-serve business, where we try to get as many merchants as possible signing up to Klaviyo for free and then becoming a paying customer. And so one of the things that I realized was we need to reduce the friction to sign up. So that's the first thing. So less number of fields required on the sign up form. And then from there, throughout the journey, speaking to their wants and needs. So having a deep understanding of what a merchant wants and needs, and making sure that messaging and positioning is crystal clear and speaks directly to them throughout the journey. We meet them at a point where they need something, and then they will, go ahead and convert. So really paying close attention and having a deep understanding of the merchant and displaying their wants and needs to them throughout the journey, I found to be super impactful, and something that I've tried to bring to Upscribe.
No, very cool. And we talked a bit about the page. We talked about what you're bringing in from your previous experiences. I would love to learn a bit more about your journey as a marketer, right? So there's so much content out there on what you could be doing, what you could be studying, and what you could be improving. Where do you sort of get high quality information for yourself? Like what's sort of your go-to resources for that?
Yeah, I mean, I think you are right. Now there is more information out there available than ever, on Twitter, on different blogs, on Google and that sort of thing. And while I found that information to be helpful, I've learned the most from just doing, and I've been fortunate to work for a lot of large recognizable brands and some smaller ones, and I also have my own kind of side hustle business that I've been doing on the side. And the way that I've learned is kind of taking some of the stuff that I'm reading and hearing about online and applying it with my own kind of like twist, so to speak. Because some people I think follow what someone says in a blog to a T, and that's not going to work for you necessarily. But you have to be willing to adapt and test. And kind of what I found from a marketing perspective, like I like to call myself like a machine gun marketer, is like you try different things, and if it doesn't work, you have to be able to adapt, realize it doesn't work, and try something else. There's no perfect thing that's going to work for everybody, and you have to be willing to test and iterate, and really track how you're doing against potential goals and that sort of thing, so you can understand if it was successful or not.
Makes a lot of sense. I've got some rapid fire questions to wrap it up for today. Dan, are you ready for those?
Sure.
What's the last book you read?
I actually just finished a book last night on running. I'm a big runner, so this book was about training not high intensity all of the time. It basically saying elite runners run 80% of the time at very low intensity and 20% at high intensity. So kind of trying to apply that to my training cycle that I'm going through right now from a running perspective.
What's one single thing that your company is focused on the most at the moment?
I would say, getting our customer acquisition funnel humming. That's a really important part for us. And the website was the first piece of it, and we have a lot of different pieces coming together. We just had a new sales lead a couple weeks ago just started with our paid ad and SEO. So we're really trying to drive efficiency through our customer acquisition funnel.
If there would be no boundaries in tech, what's the one thing that you would fix for your role as a marketer?
That's a good question. I would say having access to like a smaller company, having access to more budget would be awesome. So we could potentially test different types of activities. Like right now, I think I know what we should be doing just based on our budget and everything like that. But if we had a more of a budget, if more vendors let us test different things, we would be able to understand where we should be allocating more budget accordingly.
Yep. What's the last thing that kept you awake at night about the company?
Just I've never been at a company this small before. So there's definitely ebbs and flows with it. Like if one of our larger customers, if they have something wrong, you start thinking like, what can we do to get more larger customers and stuff like that. So it's the first time I've experienced a company where everything is very very up and down, and so there's nights when I don't sleep well because of that, but it's also like that's what I signed up for, and I kind of like to enjoy the journey of that.
Awesome. Very cool. Then very last question, right? If we go back to the days of Bandler University, right? You're just heading out of formula education into the world of business, marketing, and growth. What's the one advice you would give yourself for your journey?
Have patience. I think that I'm definitely someone who is not the most patient person, but what I've realized is patience pays off. And I think I had a lot of leaders in my time make rush decisions that have made have not been the best decisions. And what I've tried to do is still move fast, but operate with patience, understanding that not everything I implement is going to have results right away. You have to see it through and understand what was successful, what wasn't successful about it, but you can't rush to conclusions. You have to see everything you're working on through before you can actually kind of evaluate what worked and what didn't.
I really appreciate you took the time with us today to be guest on Plasma Presents. I want to give you the very last word. If somebody would be forgetting all that we discussed about Upscribe today, what's the one thing that they should remember?
Yeah, sure. Upscribe. So I didn't join Upscribe, and we're not building Upscribe to be better than some of our competitors. We certainly want to be better than them, but we also want to be different than them. So we have a lot of cool, exciting things coming out that's really kind of going to differentiate us from some of the competitors. And we're trying to look at things a little bit differently from a product perspective, but also from a marketing perspective. So potentially targeting different niches within the commerce space. And I think we have some really cool things exciting, cool things planned for the next 6 to 12 months. So I definitely keep an eye on us. And if you're interested, certainly reach out. You can find us at upscribe.io.
Thanks a lot for being a guest on Plasma Presents.
Thank you. It was great to chat.